Okay, I'm here at a baseball diamond. We're in the World Series has started, and I feel the need to tell people stuff that they don't want to hear. This is going to piss a lot of people off, so be it. I'm here with Snickers. He's helping me. I'm in a dugout because it's raining. I hope you can hear me over the pitter-patter of rain on this. I'm here in the dugout. So, baseball was invented by a man called Abner Doubleday. And I'm going to show you a picture of Abner Doubleday's gravestone. Here it is. So Admiral Doubleday, the man that invented baseball, there's some doubt to it, but he's the one that did it, was a Mason. And baseball was basically invented in 1869. And it's a Masonic ritual game. That's how it started off. Remember, they had no clue this was going to be all over the, basically all over the world. He just started out in the community trying to get a pro-Masonic message after the debacle of Captain Morgan. For those of you that don't know, Captain Morgan, oh good, we're getting hail now. Captain Morgan was killed by the Masons in around 1812 for divulging secrets. And there was actually an anti-Masonic party that came out after that. So this was a way to get back in good graces for that. So if you look at the way a baseball diamond is set up, now here's some basic things to know. And here's some Masonic reference points here. And Admiral Doubleday's Masonic apron of his lodge the Masonic apron looked a lot like this. So the sun and the moon were the batter's warm-up boxes on each side. And those are actually takeoff of Joachim and Boaz, the two pillars of the temple, if you will. So let's go over the game of baseball. So you've got men on the field, and you've got home plate. You have an umpire and a catcher, and the pitcher are the main parts of everything. So the batter is the initiate, and he gets a pitch thrown to him by obviously the pitcher. So let's go back to the Masonic thing. So in the middle, they'll tell you that G stands for God. It could also be gravity or the grand architect of the universe. And then he throws a white ball. Remember, he throws a white ball to the initiate. Now the two people that are the initiate is the batter, but then there's obviously other people involved. The umpire would be the warden. Excuse me, the catcher would be the warden, and the umpire would be the worshipful master. So the initiate gets thrown a white ball, which represents light, from the big G, the grand architect of the universe, the bringer of light, if you will. Now, the Masons will tell you, they swear on whatever book is holy in whatever country, like it's a Quran if it's in the Middle East, and it's a Bible if it's in a Western country. Anyway, Albert Pike even said the initiate, after he gets to the 30th degree, you can tell him who the real god of Masonry is. It's Lucifer, the light bringer. So in this case, the grand architect of the universe throws a white ball, which is endemic of the ball, the pitch, to the initiate. Now the warden is the catcher. There's several officers in a lodge. One of them is the warden, and the head of it is the worshipful master. So the worshipful master oversees everything. He's the umpire. Then you go to first base. In other words, the grand architect of the universe throws you light, and you swing at it, and the Masons, the rest of the team, guides you along to get to your base. And after you're at first base, that's like, and you're trying to go to second, you're an entered apprentice. And when you get to the second base and you're there, and then you're trying to go to third, you're the second degree. And then you've arrived at third. Now you're practicing to become a master mason, which is the Blue Lodge. And if you get home, you scored a home run, you become a master mason. So again, the whole point of this was to kind of indoctrinate mainly kids. I mean, it was initially played by adults, but he envisioned it, you know, raising it on to kids. And the diamond is also, you know, the baseball diamond. You know, you see home plate is set up in a basically a pentagram. It's 60 feet to the pitcher's mound. It's 18 feet around the pitcher's mound. So 18 is divisible by 6. You know, 3 6s, so 666. And then it's 66 feet to each of the bases. There's some angles in here you can study if you really want to get into this. And also, you know, it's the square and compass. You know, obviously the field is set up in a square and compass. So there's your square. Excuse me. There's your square, and there's your compass. And like I said, the grand architect of the universe, which is reminiscent of the picture, throws you the white ball, which is a symbol of light. And you get to first, and then you get taught the first degree, and then you get to the second, third, and then you become a master mason, and you go home and score a home run. That's basically what you see happening. It's a drama on a baseball field, and that's what he was trying to teach people, was this drama that takes place on a baseball field. There's no time limit in baseball. It can just keep going on and on, extra innings, however long it takes to finish, to get all the initiates through. So that's the parable. They all Masons try to always have parables and everything, and so that's what's going on here in a baseball field. So and remember, Karl Marx said that religion was the opiate of the people. That's no longer true. Sports is now. Now, they weren't planning this out when baseball was made. He was actually just trying to give Masonry, you know, Masonry was recovering from a black eye from the Captain Morgan affair where he was murdered. And, you know, the anti-Masonic party came to, you know, there was actually an anti-Masonic party that fielded a presidential candidate. So, yeah, they were trying to overcome the stigma of Masonry being an evil thing, which mainly it's just nowadays the trappings of Masonry have expanded to the other societies. It was a way of checking bona fides back in the day, and it's speculative Masonry. So there's two kinds of Masonry. There's the York Rite and the Scottish Rite. And Albert Pike redid all the Scottish Rite after the Civil War, and the York Rite would be more, I guess, along the original lines of Masonry, of speculative Masonry. Remember, the Masons were originally building the cathedrals all around Europe, and they needed a way to check when somebody came from another town. So through different handshakes and way you stand and certain phrases, you would know that somebody's a Mason, and they could work on the cathedrals, because they built all the cathedrals in Europe. And then it became speculative Masonry after that was all done. And then Albert Pike redid everything because he was a real piece of work. I also want you to check out the Pike Mazzini letter. I have a hookup to it on timbosplace.com on page 2. It was in the British National Museum. It disappeared in the late 60s mysteriously. And basically it was an outline. The actual Illuminati got a hold of both Pike and Mazzini. Mazzini was the head of European Masonry, and he's actually also the head of the Mafia in Europe. So they outlined the 3 world wars there, and they pretty much stuck to their guns about it. Now, they didn't know about nuclear weapons and all this stuff, but the First World War was to take out some of the monarchies and install an experimental society, and it was picked Russia because Russia was, although part of Europe at the time, it was kind of on its own. And then they outlined the Second World War, and then the Pike-Mazzini letter talks about the Third World War being a war between the forces of Zion and the followers of Mohammedanism. They didn't call them Muslims back then; they called them Mohammedans. So they're trying their best to do that. You look at the state of Israel, which was basically recodified by the Rothschilds. And I'm not saying that God isn't using them to you know, make the dry bones of Ezekiel come out. I'm just saying the Rothschilds are the main force behind the state of Israel as it's going, and they're stirring up the Middle East. But anyway, that's all I got for now. Thank you. I'm out.